Thursday. You're watching this on Thursday. You're listening to it on Thursday. Or if you're listening to it on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we recorded it. We're going to say it came out last Thursday, and it did. But this is actually Tuesday. We're continuing the conversation we started with my buddy Mike Imbasciani, who is in town from Florida.
Yes, sir.
And tell me about that shirt you're wearing.
Yeah, so it is the Freedom Chronicles shirt is Get Loud Locally, and I have Freedom Cow on my shirt now. Being in Southwest Florida, we just got hit with Hurricane Ian there, coming up on a year anniversary already, which is very hard to believe. But we have our mascot, Freedom Cow, here. And after the hurricane, I have about 8 acres out in Arcadia, Southwest Florida, which a lot of farmland, a lot of cows. And it's known to flood there. And we just had the 100-year flood, which I think was a record 18 feet.
Wow.
Now Hurricane Ian, it must have been the 500-year flood because we got 24 feet of flooding. And so 2 weeks after the hurricane, my family and I go out there, check on the property, make sure everything's okay. And I hear something in the woods, and it ends up coming out, and it's this cow staring at me. So I take my pictures, and we find out that there's about 6,000 acres of cattle ranch about a block and a half down the road and across one of the main highways. And 100 of their cows went missing from the hurricane. They were supposed to ship out that day of the hurricane to Texas. 50 adults, 50 babies went missing. They were turning up dead everywhere. And they were so happy that they found this one cow. And because he swam over my fence, because my fence was fine, my property was fine. The water was that high that he swam all the way from there, from wherever he came from, cattle ranch there, down to my property, over my fence, and lived because he made it to my house pad, which was just barely above the water.
Wow.
And we call it Freedom Cow, and the way I see it is he had the perseverance and the will and the will to live and find the freedom.
Yeah.
So,
I will not die.
Exactly.
I will not go, gently into that good night.
So we tell you, be a Freedom Cow, and Get Loud Locally is the other half of the motto, where basically I've been saying on the show, on the podcast, that, one person cannot change the world, but one person can change your community. You get involved, and you get involved with local elections. I used to joke as a musician and say, if people are sad, they drink. People are happy, they drink. I'll always have a job at a bar as a musician, right. With the band. And for the long time, that was true. And then COVID happened, where the government, that shadowy figure, can come out and say, no, you are non-essential. Yeah. And sorry, you're not going to have a job. Yeah. And of course, they did that to the restaurants, and therefore my job as a musician was gone. And that's why I started the Freedom Chronicles after things came back. Being from the free state of Florida, we were back to work in May of 2020. It was very slow. I'll do my congratulations to Ron DeSantis now, talking about COVID. He certainly opened the state sooner than I talked to my musician friends in Wisconsin, all across the country. Right. It took them forever, and venues just die now the slow COVID death because they had to go through all of their savings just to survive then. Yeah. So the Get Loud Locally thing, I started the Freedom Chronicles podcast, and it gave people a voice. I have my voice as a musician and say, I was told I'm non-essential. People who think the government doesn't affect you, it's a lie. Every single thing, everywhere you go, the car you drive, the sheets you sleep on. My good friend Mason Weaver, I'll give a shout out to. He has the great line of saying, those sheets you sleep on are federally approved fire resistant. That's true. And it's affected by the government. Ken Lovejoy, who I've been going on his radio show for 9 years now. That's how you and I met. Yep. And from that, I was like, this is fun, but I want to do my thing too. So I started the podcast, and Ken is my co-host, and it gives you a voice to say everything does affect everybody. So you have to get loud locally in your community to help everybody.
I've always said the president is not coming to dinner at your house, right? He's not. So you got to get loud locally. I like that phrase. I have people that stay mad at me because, COVID shutdowns as an entertainer. What did I do in the middle of the shutdown? I decided to run for governor in the state of Texas and to fight back against the nonsense. And so I have, quote, friends, people I thought were my friends in the entertainment business, Texas musicians, whoever, they're mad at me. They're like, oh, you're this and that, and they label me all this kind of stuff. So like, no, I was the guy who ran against the guy who cost you your job.
Right.
Like, could you just? I mean, I was the only person who could do it from that perspective.
Yeah.
I had to do it as a Republican. I've never identified with a political party. I've never registered with a political party.
Well, and you put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
Basically saying, look, I'm not happy with the way things are. I'll try to make a difference. And that's all I'm trying to do. For the longest time, and this is like my coming out party, because I probably should advertise that I'm on the show on Facebook.
Yeah.
But I keep the politics separate from my music, because I'm a blues cover band. I don't need to talk about politics on my microphone playing at a venue. It's not my job. You know, comedians can get away with more than musicians, but as we talked about in the last episode, back on Tuesday, I play Back in the USSR by the Beatles. Yep. You play certain songs from the 60s, even up to today, there will be political notes in them. I'm always very subtle about it. I don't hide who I am. I'm a conservative, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm an American.
Yeah.
And that's where Get Loud Locally has become so important, and where I can no longer keep them that separate anymore.
Yeah. It's getting virtually impossible for those in the entertainment business to hide. What I've always said is, people think they're like, oh, you get too political. I said, no, I get cultural.
Yeah.
I get cultural. Politics runs downstream from culture.
Yeah. Normal life is finally catching up.
Yeah. The politics that you see, now everybody has to come out and make some kind of political statement about everything. Used to be comedians saying, I'm not going to get political. Oh, then you got Jim Gaffigan, who's on Joe Rogan 2 weeks ago, and he's hating on Donald Trump. And it's like, why do you even need to have that conversation? You weren't going to get political, but now everybody has been forced to have a political conversation.
Yeah. And I hate to break it to a lot of people out there. I'll take 2019 with Trump as president, with low gas, and I had a record-breaking year of 227 gigs. People were happy. People were going out, spending money. The ecosystem of politics and economy was spinning perfectly fine.
Yeah, March 13th of 2020, I did a sold-out show, Elk City, Oklahoma, and then you could literally hear the brakes screeching. The world came to a stop. And I did not do another live show. Now, I was able to finish a book. I was able to finish an album. I was able to form a new band. There were things that slowed me down enough that some good things came out of it. New apparel company, all these different things. But by August, I was back doing live shows again. And the only reason I could is because as a comedian, I could go to comedy clubs that identify as restaurants. Not bars.
And in Florida.
Yeah, exactly. I was doing them in Florida. I could go back to Oklahoma. And so, there were certain states I could do. I could go to Wyoming. They'd never heard of COVID.
And shout out to Fasani in Port Charlotte, Florida there. They were doing shows. They pulled out a stage into the parking lot, and people were tuning in on their radios like old drive-in movie theaters.
Honking their horns.
It was, and headlights for the laughter.
Yeah.
I mean, good. There's a way to do it, and they got through it, and thank God I was in Florida. That's all I can say.
And speaking of Florida, we got to talk about Ron DeSantis a little bit. Because, again, this is almost like the Ukraine-Russia thing. You bring up DeSantis, then you must be defending DeSantis, and you're anti-Trump, and you're blah, everybody's picking a side. DeSantis not doing great in the polls. He seems to be kind of, What are your thoughts on all that? My
thoughts on that is he should have waited till 28. Yeah. Obviously, I think he was already running for president when he did that debate against Charlie Crist, because you cannot tell me that he didn't already have a team in place. They weren't already doing it. You don't go on a book tour to Iowa.
Yeah.
It's running for president.
Yeah.
He should have just announced earlier and get it over with.
Yeah.
But instead he played the game.
Played the political game.
That the people, again, I don't know the guy. I love him as governor. I voted for him twice. He did a great job with the hurricane. But as a Floridian, and there are a lot of Floridians and my friends and people you talk to that feel the same way, we feel lied and betrayed to. Because it was a lie.
Yeah.
Because you can't tell me at that debate with Charlie Crist, he didn't know he was already running for president.
He knew what he was going to do. The insiders knew what he was going to do.
And the money came, but it doesn't matter. It's not enough.
Yeah.
And why can't he do an event in Florida?
I talk to people all over the country, and every now and then the conversation will come up, and I'll be like, what are your thoughts? And a lot of people say, we like Ron DeSantis. We just don't feel like it's his turn.
Right.
Like, he should have waited.
And loyalty is a big thing.
It is. And a lot of people, like, he should have finished what he said he was going to do in Florida.
Yeah.
So he could focus, Florida, listen, that's the other thing that drives me crazy is these guys, they get in there, they do a good job, they get elected another term, and then they're like, oh, I want to go get another job.
Right, literally immediately.
Yeah.
Well, and he also, remember, the rules in Florida had stated that he couldn't run for office and still be governor.
Yeah.
So he didn't announce until
After
the legislature changed the rules.
Yeah. And he won by a very slim margin when he won the first time.
Right.
And thank God he won it because, wow.
Oh, yeah. What was it, 2 weeks? 2 weeks after the election, Gillum found in the motel room.
Yeah. Sheesh. Making Hunter look like he knew what he was doing. But Florida can go back to that. I mean, Florida could
very easily. That's why DeSantis
swing back real easy.
Well, and my point before they changed the rules, I was talking to people and saying, what does anybody know about the lieutenant governor? Do they even know that it's a woman?
That's exactly right.
What are her policies? What is she like? Of course, they changed the rules now, fine. And so DeSantis can still be governor and run for president. So when he loses, he can come back and
still be governor
and finish the job that we all voted for him to do. But it is too bad. And again, I've been all about lately, zoom out. What's the bigger picture? Why is this infighting happening? Mm-hmm. Why is Chris Christie running for president? Just to go scare Ukrainian children,
and
time. Say, oh, now we know why there's a food shortage.
Yeah,
come on,
I'm gonna eat you.
Yeah. Did you see somebody photoshopped him on the character from Austin Powers? Get in my belly. But why? Why are these people running for president in the Republican Party? It's to constantly just continue the infighting going, keep that narrative going of Trump versus DeSantis instead of the bigger picture of it doesn't matter who the Republican nominee is. If election integrity is not taken care of, including in Florida, both of them will lose.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether it's Trump or DeSantis.
That's true. I mean, the algorithm seems to be rigged. I mean, they're going to keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't know of anybody in America. I mean, listen, 2016, every Democrat in America was saying it was rigged. They were all saying there was some, election meddling and everything.
It was
apparently,
Russia.
Everybody in America believes there's some kind of election problem. So
but it's only bad when the conservatives say it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You guys only complain when it's when you lose.
Well, and that's been my point, too, is there are corrupt Republicans and there are corrupt Democrats.
Yeah.
I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
They're all corrupt. They all got to go. Mitch McConnell, and they're all 90 years old. Mitch McConnell going back into his turtle shell there and drawing a blank, trying to do his press conference. Dianne Feinstein being told, just say I.
Yeah.
These are the people running the country.
It's a bad deal, dude. I mean, you could have a lot of seats emptied real fast in the House of Congress just from people dropping dead and from natural causes at this point. So, all right, we got more to get into. Going to take a break. Hey, guys, right now, the world's changing. A lot of uncomfortable ways, actually, it's changing. And you got, natural disasters, political or economic disasters. But here's the thing. You need to be prepared for anything that happens, and you need to be prepared in a moment's notice. You're not going to get a warning. It's not a movie. Nobody coming to save you. You got to save yourself, and the smartest thing you can do is invest in emergency food from preparewithchad.com. That's right. That's My Patriot Supply, and they're offering a deep discount on their popular 3-month emergency food kit, 25%. That sounds like a pretty good savings right there. That's actually the biggest savings that they offer, and it doesn't come along every day, so you don't need to pass this up. So grab your 25% discount on each 3-month kit you need. You get one kit per person. That's what you're going to need. Every person in your family, you need a kit for them. You will not regret it. Go to preparewithchad.com. Save the 25% before the sale is over. That's all you got to do. No promo code. Just go to preparewithchad.com, and we'll be right back. Speaking of who could become president, this past week, Joe Rogan came out. Everything Joe Rogan says, everybody's got to talk about what Joe Rogan
of course.
says. I'm just like, I've never quite understood the fascination. Hey, listen, Joe's a great guy. He's a good comedian. He's a talented guy. Built a great career, but I've never understood how people just hang on every word that certain people say.
Yeah.
In
a 3-hour long podcast.
It's a long one.
Yeah.
I've never made it to the end of one.
The only full episode I've ever listened to with Joe Rogan was with Ted Nugent.
Really?
And it was hilarious.
Yeah.
They were literally talking about everything. I just saw him live in concert. He was fantastic.
Yeah, he's a trip, dude. That dude doesn't live on the same planet we do, that's for sure. Who was it? Somebody was doing a project with Ted, and he was going to play guitar, do something for him, and they got to go to his place.
Yeah.
For him to do it.
Really?
He ain't coming out.
No.
He's staying at the ranch.
Yep.
So don't blame him at this point. Play clip number 2, please.
Yeah, I guess you would probably have at least an idea of how you would do it differently and better. And he's also got a very popular voice. Like, if he decided to run for president, like, say if Trump, let's just make a scenario, Trump wins in 2024. He has 4 years. If Tucker went to run in 2028, he could win. He really could win, because it would be kind of carrying those policies, but also he's a sort of a no-nonsense guy who exposes in a pretty humorous way, in a very insightful and biting way. And that's what he was really good at on his television show. Yeah. And he red-pilled a lot of left-wing people. There's a lot of left-wing people during the pandemic that's like, Tucker Carlson's a propagandist, and he's a piece of and is a right-wing. And then as time went on, they're like, he's saying a lot of that's right. Like, why are they locking these tests? Why are they making kids wear masks? Like, is there any science to it?
Yeah, I mean, Tucker's a pretty logical guy. And he's bold. I mean, that's for sure. I don't know about him as president. Might ruin him. What do you think?
That's the thing. Is like all these celebrities say they're going to run. They never do anyway. It's just the talk. Yeah. But it's other people saying that Tucker should run.
Yeah.
And it's because he has that popularity. I mean, look at his shows on the app formerly known as Twitter. He's doing a great job. And I love how he asks the questions, because he gets the little sarcastic quips in there where he could be making fun of whoever he's interviewing and they don't even know it.
I always liked how Tucker kind of does the so help me understand what you're saying here. Would you say help me, and he does that little squint like he's trying to figure you out. Like,
stupid are you?
You just came out of an egg, and I'm trying to figure out what shape you're going to take. So help me understand the words that are coming out of your mouth.
Yeah.
And it's like he puts the person on the spot. He's really smart when he does that as an interviewer, because he really does put the magnifying glass on him. But my thing there is, I'm watching and I'm going, people still have to remember that, he's got people behind him too. He's got producers and writers, and he's got, hey, here's where I want to go with this. Let's develop this, and let's put this out.
He's a big name that proves that you don't need the humongous networks anymore.
Oh yeah, in a big way, he's proved that.
He has proved that, and because think about it, when he took over for O'Reilly. Yeah, it was still status quo. The culture changed as his show grew, and he became the most popular name across multiple. Yeah. And then he leaves. You can't replace him.
No, you can't do it.
Because that growth can't happen now.
Mm-mm.
You have to, people can do it on their own.
Yeah.
And that's what he's proving can go on, and he's just so successful. It's fantastic. But he is able to have those normal conversations. People are sick and tired of all these. Anybody going to watch that first debate that's going to happen? The best thing about Tucker was he ended 3 political careers there with Asa Hutchinson and Mike Pence and Tim Scott.
Yeah,
because Tucker can ask the right questions and have a normal conversation. And a lot of these politicians aren't used to that either.
No, they're not capable of that.
But people like that they're finally able to see normal conversations again.
When he just comes out and point blank asks Asa Hutchinson, how many vaccines, how many shots have you had? Yeah. How many have you had, Tucker? 0.
Yeah.
I mean,
so answer the question, Asa.
What do you want to do? 0. Right. I mean, don't give us the political answer and push back on that stuff. Mm-hmm. And then Mike Pence, who just
not my concern.
Not my concern. Which I think what Mike was trying to say in that deal was he was saying Ukraine, that's not my concern.
Right,
but again, it comes off awfully callous all the way across the board. So.
And body language is a big thing.
Yeah.
And when you just see the body language of these people, and Tucker can eat right through these people, and it's fantastic.
And Pence's tell was when he goes, "You've tried this with me before, Tucker," and it's like, yeah, because you suck at this.
Yeah.
And we're going to keep doing it to you because you're stiff, dude. Yeah. Loosen up. Be a human like the rest of us.
And that's why everybody loves Trump.
Yeah.
And you know what? If DeSantis had come out, everything he's done, unfortunately, and he needs to fire his PR team, I will tell you right now, DeSantis' PR team sucks. Everything they try to do just continuously. DeSantis stands up and he gets knocked down on his knees again from some blunder that happens that the internet picks up on. And he has no charisma. Say what you want about Trump. Trump can have a normal conversation with somebody, and he has the charisma.
Yeah, I've said forever, his comedic timing has always been impeccable.
Yep.
You put him on a stage, he's going to entertain, and he just knows how to do it. I mean, any guy that can dance with his fists out with this deal right here, I mean,
come on.
And everybody's cheering him on, doing the YMCA thing.
Exactly.
Hey.
I got to see him speak. Actually, Tucker opened for Trump at the Turning Point Action Conference in Palm Beach. I went to that.
Yeah.
6,000 people, fantastic. And Tucker Tucker was on fire. He was hilarious. Again, having a normal conversation, but he's up there talking to 6,000 people. Last thing he said was, he was talking about Hunter Biden and the cocaine in the White House, and he said, just remember, never trust anybody with a sniffly nose or something like that or something. And then Trump comes out and nobody can match that.
No, you can't top him. I mean, even Megyn Kelly said recently, she said, you get him in a room, he takes over the room.
Yeah.
He absorbs the energy in the room. And it's a weird thing, man. I've been in the room with Trump numerous times, actually, where it's just like, just sucks the air out of the room. I mean, it's just like he just absorbs it all. And him getting on that, people are like, oh, it's a cop-out for him not want to get on the debate stage with these guys. Like, those guys actually should be thankful.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he'd show them up.
Well, and I'll tell you, what I'm looking forward to the most at this debate is I want to see Vivek Ramaswamy and DeSantis.
Yeah.
Because Vivek, I got to meet Vivek at the Turning Point Action Conference. Another person who has the charisma. He's saying the right things. I don't agree with him on everything.
Sure.
But there are things I agree with him on.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of people that after feeling that betrayal from DeSantis, again, where are his events in Florida?
Right. Yeah.
He's going everywhere but Florida.
And I told people, which you know this, Brandon, I'm always right. I told people, I said, when he announces for president, I said, Florida's not going to come behind him and be like, thank you for doing it.
No.
They're going to be pissed.
Because we're still dealing with our own problems. We need a governor.
Yeah.
It's important.
Well, and I've been around Vivek. I've met Vivek numerous times. I've been around him numerous times. And I like him. I've said it from the very beginning. I like him. I think he's a solid candidate. And there's nobody that I'm going to agree with 100%, including Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, he still needs to apologize for the warp speed thing.
Right, and that's the biggest thing a lot of people are talking about.
Yeah, he needs to come out and say, "Hey, listen, I was listening to what they were telling me in those days." But I like Vivek, and I think he's going to stand out. I think the guy's got a big future, big future. So I will see how that goes.
Let him be VP with Trump or somewhere in the cabinet.
I can see that happening significantly. So we'll see what happens on that whole deal. Let's go to a quicker break. Get into more stuff because this is going to take a little bit longer if I get into it. Hey guys, everybody deals with pain from time to time. You do, I do. I do because I complain about it all the time. And I'm tired of sustaining it and just dealing with it and just trying to live with it. You don't have to because it's going to keep coming back and it's going to make you miserable and take the joy out of your life. So what do I encourage you to do? I want you to check out Relief Factor. It doesn't have to be that way. You don't have to live with the pain. Relief Factor is a great way to reduce that pain, which mostly is caused by inflammation in your joints. And when you take it as directed, it could absolutely change your life. It's not a drug, but it is developed by doctors, and it reduces inflammation in your body. Now, 70% of the people who take it keep on ordering it because it works. So if you're living with pain, please try the 3-week quick start. It's only $19.95. It's a trial pack. You can go to relieffactor.com to get it. Or if you want to talk to somebody on the phone, you can call them. Call them at 800, the number 4, relief. Relieffactor.com. We'll be right back. So in the world of idiocy, I was in Pittsburgh this past week, and I like going to places like Pittsburgh. I grew up in the woods. I grew up in the country, so when I could go to the city, I always enjoyed it because I'm an extrovert, and I always figured I was a displaced urbanite. I really was meant for the cities,
right, you know, to explore,
to live vertically.
Yeah.
I don't believe that anymore. The older I get, nope, I'm not. I belong in the country. I'd like to go into the cities. I always liked going to Pittsburgh. But I go to these big cities now, and I'm like, damn.
They suck.
It's terrible.
Yep.
I mean, everything about them is terrible. And everybody's on the street cracked out, people on whatever they're on, and walking around like zombies. I mean, it's just insane. And then people just drive past them, walk past them.
It's sad to see.
Just normal deal, right?
Yeah.
Well, San Francisco's the worst of the worst.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to go out to San Francisco. We used to go out to Napa. We had friends with vineyards out there because we got it like that. And but we'd stay a day in, San Francisco, and then we'd come back, stay another day in San Francisco when we were done in Napa. And it was a beautiful city. Beautiful city. Not anymore.
Nope.
Not anymore. It's trashed out. You can't blame the Russians for that one. You blame the Democrats.
Yeah.
It's completely trashed out. And so when I see a video like this one, this thing went viral. I don't feel sorry. I don't feel any sympathy for this woman because she got what she asked for. Play clip number 3.
I'm literally shaking right now. I was just getting groceries, and I live in San Francisco, and I never really feel fully safe. If you live in San Francisco, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. And I just got groceries. I'm walking out of the store, and this guy is walking past me and says, "Move, you stupid." He spits in my face, spits all over my face. And then I say, "Excuse me, did you just spit in my face?" And he says, "Move or I'll rape you." There's also people everywhere, and everyone's just walking by because they're like, I can't handle something else in San Francisco. It's always something else. I don't even know why I'm posting this. If you live in San Francisco, do you feel this way all the time? I don't feel safe, ever. I literally never feel safe. It's better when it's daylight. But nighttime, no, not leaving my house.
Yeah.
Well, you voted for dark blue.
I was going to say, did she even vote?
Well, it's a good chance. She just stayed apathetic and stayed away from the whole deal.
And I don't want to hear it.
Just abstained. Nope. Either way, you either abstained or you voted wrong, and that's what you've asked for.
Elections have consequences.
Yeah. Ideas have consequences. I go on further. It's like, and San Francisco's become a real bad idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, forget the needles, forget the fecal matter in the street, the slums, the homelessness.
If only Elon had erected his giant X logo light out of needles in San Francisco.
Exactly. They would have
left it up and made it a monument.
Exactly. They would have come to it like a moth to a flame.
A modern art masterpiece.
Yes. But I tell you, this girl, she issued another thing back because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, you didn't tell us what color he was," or whatever.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. She came back and she did a follow-up video after that one saying he was a well-dressed white man. And it's like, okay, honey, listen.
Chad, you've never been robbed by a well-dressed white man in a suit?
I'm like, either way.
Have you seen the stock market?
I'm like, he's headed to the financial district. He shit in my face and said he was going to.
I always rob in my finest 3-piece suits.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, it's crazy.
Yeah.
My favorite phrase of that whole deal is when she goes, "Did you spit in my face?"
I know. It's like $10. You didn't even actually say that.
No.
Let alone
some guy
like
comes by and spits in your face and get out of my way or I'll rape you. Did you just spit in my face? Yeah, I don't see that conversation going down that way. But anyway.
Building on that, talking about the cities, I would like to mention that the last time I went out west, it was 2016. World was a lot different. I was a little younger, so the memory cortex doesn't remember some of those memories. But I'm doing a majority of the driving, and I'm used to Florida and my environment. But just driving, first of all, anybody who says we have an overpopulation problem can go jump in a lake somewhere. Because there is so much nothing.
Tons of it.
There is tons of just nothing out there. I mean, just the panhandle of Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, but the actual genuinely nice, hardworking people as well. Now, you do hear it all the time, fine, there are those nice, hardworking people out there, but to see it with your own eyes in a state that you're not from. At I have I want to mention it because I think it's important. It was called the Southern Bean Coffee Shop in Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Right.
It was 10 o'clock at night, and I still have to drive to Dallas here. We made it that night. Thank you very much. Well,
wow.
That next morning, rather, 9 a.m. yesterday. And I'm in this coffee shop next to a small gas station in what I think is the middle of nowhere because it's nighttime. You can't see anything. And here's a family of 5, 3 little kids behind the counter with mom. They're all cleaning up, and dad's there hanging out. And I bought a cup of coffee, and you talk to him for a couple minutes. Where are you from? What are you doing? Just small talk. Nice, normal people.
Yeah.
That's America.
What is normal, Mike?
Yeah, I know.
You can hear people saying that right now. Try that in a small town. Yeah. Look, I said it for years. You get online, you think the whole world's trying to kill each other.
Exactly.
You see the crisis, you see everybody's at each other's throats. It doesn't happen in a restaurant, it doesn't happen in small town America.
Exactly.
It doesn't happen it doesn't happen in most places. But you're right, I was flying somewhere recently, and I was over some of the flyover areas of America and just looking down, and I go, we don't have an overpopulation problem.
No.
Now, we've got other issues. All these people, we pack them into a little 2 mile.
And just like to rats, they go crazy.
Yeah, they go nuts with each other.
Yeah.
And then they drive each other crazy. And that's what's going to happen when you pile a bunch of people together. So it's no wonder we're dealing with so much insanity. And then guys like you and me just sit back and say, the world's gone crazy.
Right.
Well, the world hadn't gone crazy. It's just that pile of humanity that just driving each other insane. Speaking of insane, play clip number 6, please.
The country was founded on fighting against an autocracy. Donald Trump is not fighting for you. He's fighting to be the king of this United States. And you cannot have him make America great again if he's going against the principles of what America stood for in its origin. We've had 2 challenges. We had the American Revolution that started the country. We had the Civil War. Both times they tried to deal with throwing away the principles of one man, one vote, the principles of a democracy. What side are you on? Are you on the side of America and what it conceptually stands for, or are you on the side of King George or the Confederates? That's where I would cast Donald Trump and let him defend that. I'm sure everybody in the Confederate Army said it was free speech. I'm sure the British said it was free speech. Are you for democracy or are you for autocracy?
That was a whole screen full of idiots right there.
And it's a constitutional republic, people.
Yeah.
Get it straight.
Yeah. Well, hey, we could go even further on that. Play clip number 14. Yeah. Check this out.
Hey, Al, just a reminder, this isn't a democracy, it's a republic. And we're reflective of the people
this is
that we
not
represent.
a democracy.
And it's a republic, Al. Look at the Constitution. We're reflecting the people of the 9th District. And again, I just want to make one thing very clear. And I enjoy having this conversation with you.
I enjoy having it too, because I really hope the people in the 9th District know on the next election that they should not vote thinking this is a democracy. That Doug Collins says this is not a democracy. I'll even send you the clip.
Double down on the ignorance.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to double down
exactly.
on it. Oh. Yeah, see, that's the whole thing. You go to sit there and spout off all this stuff about King George and Trump and the Confederacy and the aristocracy, and you go say, oh, but we want mob rule. Yeah, that's what a democracy is. Let's have mob rule.
All the flash mobs that are happening all over the place.
Well, again, that's what the mayor of Chicago just said the other day in the press conference when he said, let's be careful when we talk about these mass shootings and we talk about these riots. That's not what they are. They're mass gatherings. These are large gatherings.
Right.
Let's be very clear with what they are. They're large gatherings.
Don't you miss the fiery but peaceful protests?
Mostly peaceful.
I know and I appreciate being a part of Summer of Chad, but don't you wish it was the Summer of Love?
Summer of Love. Try that in a small town.
Yeah.
Al Sharpton's not where I mean, these guys, sometimes I go, are they purposefully just lying and they know it for the pandering's sake, or are they that dumb?
That's the thing you always wonder. Like, is the money that good? You know,
is
the political, the amount of political tyranny that has happened across this country, it doesn't come up overnight.
Yeah.
And you can't say that these people truly believe this deep down.
Yeah.
But then you have to think about it of evil people. Like, the devil knows who God is.
Yeah.
And he's still the devil. And the people who follow that evil mentality, they know.
Yeah.
They do it anyway. They want the power. But the problem is that you get all the peasants that are the useful idiots that go, oh, yeah, I'll have the power. No, you won't, because you'll be the next one on the list after they get the people that immediately disagree with them.
That's exactly right. Good place to take a break. All right. Hey.
Optimism.
Exactly. You guys have heard me talk about liver health formula, another supplement. I take a lot of supplements, and I actually do take them. Liver health formula is a great supplement, and my brother had a birthday. Happy birthday, Tommy. He had a birthday this past weekend, and he's taking this stuff as well. He loves it. His doctor says it's good for you to be on it. So these folks have already sold over 2 million bottles. You know why it's so popular? Because the American Liver Foundation says that 100 million Americans have a fatty liver, so it's not surprising folks are looking for help. So people nowadays, they throw everything at their livers, from GMOs, cholesterol, alcohol, toxins, Tylenol, statins, cigarettes. I might even be sipping a little cough syrup right here. But that's why so many of us have a sluggish, fatty liver that makes us gain weight and feel tired all the time. So for decades, your liver has helped you with over 500 key functions every single day. Now you need to help your liver. Liver Health Formula, it's an all-natural supplement which contains 12 clinically proven botanicals that help recharge and protect your liver. And the listeners of this show could take advantage of their special offer. I want you to try Liver Health Formula, get a free bottle of omega-3 to keep your heart healthy. You can join their happy customer list by visiting getliverhelp.com/Chad. Claim your free bonus gift. That's getliverhelp.com/Chad. We'll be right back. There was a video that came out this past weekend. I didn't know what to think of it. A lot of influencers were sharing it. And I was like, I don't know yet. I don't have a problem believing it, but play clip number 10, please.
I mean, I have Whole Foods, and I'm about to pay for my groceries with my... That's the coolest thing ever.
Everybody's playing it off like she's got some kind of chip implanted or whatever, like she's doing like a palm scanner or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, could have been her Apple Watch. I don't know,
unless it like a fingerprint added, but she was hovering it above.
Yeah.
But to me, that whole thing, let's jump down the rabbit hole for a moment.
Yeah, because again, the implication is, here we go, Antichrist is here. We're getting the mark of the beast. The
it's
whole
the sign. But what it is again, sheep being led to the slaughter it's the long game for these people, right? Yeah. It's the get a vaccine, it's safe and effective, and then we'll make it mandatory.
Yeah. And
with this, it's eventually it's for your convenience. You left your card at home. Oh, you can just use your palm, or you can just use the chip we implanted in you 10 years from now. But it's all to get away from cash too.
Yeah. And
they do the CBDC stuff is starting to pop up all over the place. The central bank digital currency they want to go to, because it's all about, well, what are you buying with your dollars?
Yeah.
So when you see these videos, you see, oh, it's so cool. Yeah, it's cool for right now until they use it against you.
Yeah.
Because it's chipping away at the freedom foundation that we have of being citizens in a country where we can control the government, not the government controls us. And God knows when that flip happened, but the government has been controlling us for a very long time.
Long time.
And when you see things like this with this CBDC, what can lead into the CBDC talk, it's just another step of control.
Well, we all love conveniences, right? We love things to be a little bit easier. But, when you start shortcutting things, there's usually a price to pay at the end.
Right.
And so when you start giving over control in the name of convenience or for the sake of comfort, there's usually a price exacted.
Dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery.
Yeah.
But look at the Second Amendment. They know they can't touch the Second Amendment. They certainly try again and again.
The rhetoric will stay. They'll keep barking that.
And eventually they may chip away at it, and that they want to start a revolution. That's how you start a revolution. Yeah. But they'll do it in other ways. They'll do it this way, where they have you have all of your money in a bank account that's controlled by one bank because it's inconvenient to have two banks in it. Everybody should just have their money in a federal bank.
Right.
And then you want to give somebody $10, it's a lot easier. Boom, it's done. You don't need cash. But then what are you buying with that money? And if they want to go after people who are self-sufficient, just as COVID did that by saying you're not essential. Mm-hmm. It wasn't Walmart that got shut down. It was the small businesses that were not relying on government that then maybe had to reach out to the government and say, I need your help. So that's also control.
Yeah.
But if they say, well, we see you spending your money buying, magazines, holsters, not even the gun itself, the stuff that goes along with it. Maybe it's violent video games. Maybe it's whatever you're buying, whatever you're into. And then the government says, well, we don't think you should be buying that. And they pause it.
Mm.
That's where you go down the rabbit hole.
They can do it
from
real quick.
Convenience to taking control of your life.
Yeah.
And saying, you can't buy that.
Yeah.
And now you're on a list because we see you buying that.
Yeah. I mean, the examples and the illustrations and the potential things that could happen are endless.
Mm-hmm. And that's how they get around the Second Amendment.
See, there's things that I do in my life, like I partner with U.S. Patriot Coin. They're gold, silver, bullion dealer. They can help you with. I personally partner with them. It's not a free ad or anything. USPatriotCoin.com. Tell them I sent you. But one of the things that I'm my own bank.
Right.
I practice being my own bank.
Yeah.
I don't rely on the bank.
Mm-hmm.
I have gold. I have silver. I have cash. But again, I utilize the banks to the purpose that I need them. Let's say you got to pay a bill or something like that.
Right.
But I'm not trusting the bank to hang on to all of my money.
Well, and just like the Second Amendment is your right to self-defense.
Yeah.
Gold and silver and cash is your right to your currency and to, like we talked about in the last episode too, of the power of your wallet, what you boycott and say, no, I'm not going to give you my money because you don't support the things I support, or you're making these stupid decisions. And that's why Anheuser-Busch is continuing to lose money.
Right.
And why Jason Aldean's song hits number 1.
Exactly.
Because people do have that control.
And you take the cash you got. You can say, I got a bunch of cash in the safe. What happens when all of a sudden, because there's nothing, it used to be, 150 years ago, you got a banknote, you got a silver note or whatever. Right. That note was backed up by that amount of silver. You could literally go in. The reason they came up with paper dollars is because you couldn't carry around gold coins.
Yeah.
It gets heavy.
Exactly.
And so, you're not going to walk around with a chest of silver.
Yeah.
But if you ever needed to, you could go to the bank and say, here is a silver note. They'd give you silver in exchange for it. Mm-hmm. They don't do that anymore because it's not backed up by anything.
You can't even pull that much cash out of the bank.
You can't.
Well, you go try special order it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Go try it. They're not giving it all to you.
And the hilarious thing is, like, all these places, we don't accept cash anymore.
Yeah.
And in Florida, the hurricane hit. What goes down? The power and the internet.
That's right.
So what are they only taking?
Yeah.
Cash.
And look at when COVID hit. No more. Nobody had change.
Right.
Change suddenly, like coins disappeared.
Because coins are dirty. Coins are dirty.
Just disappeared. Nothing like. So see, they controlled all of that stuff. And what's going to happen is they're going to come along and they're going to say, well, here's what we're going to do. Your money is now basically obsolete, but for let's say every $1,000 you had in the bank, we're going to give you $10 for that. Mm-hmm. And it's going to change. It's going to collapse the economic system and the consumer system we know here in America. But we'll give you $10 for every, $300 you had, something like that.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it. What are you going to do?
I would say for some people, they're going to do the opposite. They're going to incentivize more people because they're already making it, look how cool and flashy it is. Mm-hmm. But they'll be stupid about it. It'll be like, which one was it in New York? It wasn't Bloomberg. It was the other one. De Blasio, I think, who was eating the cheeseburger. Look at my
fries.
Free cheeseburger I got.
You mean there's a burger element to this?
Yeah. And fries too. All you got to do is get vaccinated.
Is it too early? It's too early. Let me ask, is it too early to be eating a burger?
So it'll be, incentives.
Yeah.
But, we'll give you a free sticker, to put your bank.
And that's all you get.
Yeah.
So it's a good point. All right. There's a podcast I think you guys will like. You already know how wild this world has gotten, and people turn the truth upside down all the time. Kids are being misled. Marriages are falling apart. The Christian values that held this country together are going out the window. So you need to share God's truth more than ever. That's what the podcast Refocus with Jim Daly is all about. I highly recommend it. Jim Daly's the president of Focus on the Family. And you guys know about Focus on the Family. They if you don't know, look them up. They're a great organization, and they've been helping families follow their faith for over 40 years. Jim Daly has been the president for almost 20 years. He's helped millions of people share God's truth. So he knows his stuff. On the Refocus podcast, Jim talks about, he talks to other experts about things you probably deal with all the time. Dealing with your faith in a cancel culture, dealing with woke politics, all the fun stuff. So check out Refocus with Jim Daly. It's on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere else you listen to your podcast. Check them out, and we'll be right back. All right, Mike Imbasciani, if you ever get a chance to go hear him play live, you gotta go. You'll be thoroughly entertained. You'll have a great time. I mean, it's incredible. You'll be mind blown. You will not believe that sound is coming out of his guitar and that he's the one playing it. It's just incredible. So, did you wear your parents out when you were growing up, just playing all the time?
Right. They were great. They're best roadies. And
yeah.
My mom was a nurse, so, if you break a string and cut something,
Right
always
there,
good. My dad's a lawyer, so he's my manager.
It works out.
It worked out perfectly.
Where all can people find you?
You can find me on my website. MikeImbasciani.com is the band stuff. SimplyClapton.com takes you to the same website. Easier to spell, too, because I have my blues band, Mike Imbasciani and his Blues Rockers, or my Eric Clapton tribute show, Simply Clapton. And then I have the political podcast, The Freedom Chronicles, which you can find on Rumble, YouTube, Spotify, all those. And then I am on the app formerly known as Twitter, X, on at Freedom Chron Pod, because you can't type too much on there.
Right.
And then also on Instagram, the Freedom Chronicles podcast.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm glad we got to hang out.
Me too. Thank you for the invite. Summer of Chad.
Summer of Chad, baby. It ain't over yet. Yeah. It's getting there, but it ain't over yet. We'll I'll be in Florida, I guess, in December. But at the other side of the state, I'll be over in St. Cloud. I'll be over there with the Rednecks, man.
Nice.
St. Cloud. And I'm over there in December. I don't think I'm back in Florida, but I need to call Eric over at
come down
over at Visani. Get back over there.
Have to work out something where have my band and then have you.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be fun to do.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's we'll make sure everybody's got your name and all the websites and all that stuff so people can be following
on Instagram normally too under Mike Imbasciani, number 1.
Awesome. Travel safe.
Thank you.
And,
off to Santa Fe and then Sedona, Arizona.
You got a lot going on.
We'll spend 3 days in Vegas. That'll be fun.
That'll be fun. Driving her all the way across the country and back.
Oh, yeah.
As for me, I'm in Waco tomorrow night, Friday, at the Hippodrome. WatchChad.com is where all the fun stuff is. And then, of course, I will be in Georgetown, Texas. I'm bringing the Ragamuffins with me, so it'll be a little musical show as well. They're at Ernie's, and that'll be Saturday night. Next week at the Comedy Store, La Jolla, California. WatchChad.com has all the information you need. Don't forget to subscribe to Blaze TV. Check us out on Overtime tomorrow. We love you. God bless you. Bye.